Start with a staff in one hand, doesn't matter which hand. You're just gonna turn it all the way from one side to the next. The purpose of this is to warm up the joint, lubricate everything so you can stay safe from injury during this workout. Turn one way. As you start to increase your speed, you'll see that it turns your wrist a little bit more, which is gonna gradually increase the flexibility in your hands. Start with a lighter staff if you have it. If you've been doing it for a while, it's okay to go up in weight. This is a medium weight oak bow staff. It's white oak. And then on the other hand, same thing, turning from one side to the other. This how to use a Japanese bow staff for beginners workout. We'll see, it might go a little bit more than a beginner. We might do some intermediate stuff. But we always start the same way. It's always important to properly lubricate the joint. Welcome back, thank you. Now, from here, you're gonna turn it up, so your palm is up. The other hand just comes under, next to it, pinky to pinky, and you turn it out that way. So it's still a warm-up spin. Do 30 seconds on that first turn on each hand, and then 30 seconds here. This is how you build your workout. All right, looks like I gotta talk to the kids for a second. Be right back. Now from here, you're gonna turn it all the way up so that the pinky side is up. Take the other hand, thumb down, turn it. This hand comes under. See that butterfly? This is a butterfly spin. There are two ways to do the butterfly spin. Probably more than two, but two that we have to worry about. And this is an overhand butterfly spin. Start to increase your speed. Slow that down one more time and show you again. This is my right hand. Put it in your right hand, turn your right hand so the pinky side is up. The left thumb slides from the elbow down. Sliding down this way teaches you to keep your hands really close. Thumb down, palms facing away from each other. Turn it all the way. Keep this right hand right under the left. The palm is open, and that just comes right up. See how they're touching? That left thumb pops out of the way, the right hand turns it again. And that's where you speed up. 30 seconds going one way. The way to stop this, especially with a heavier staff, pop it, push it right there, back the other way. Comes up, thumb comes here. Yes, I understand that about the jumping to the outside. Usually that's, the staff might be a little bit lighter. Is your staff lighter? Is that what you're saying? Again, this is the left hand, pinky side up. Most important thing is that you got your practice in. Palms facing away from each other, thumb to the small side, stays close. Turn it. And again, this is the overhand spin or an overhand butterfly spin. And the butterfly, I know I've probably said this a million times now, but this is because the fingers do that and thumbs are like this. This gives you a lot of control. Now there's another way to do the butterfly spin, which is with the hand under. I did it wrong. There we go, the hand under. And they just stay together like this. And the wrists never come apart. And then the other way. Yeah, well, you know, that's the way you start. I've been doing this since I was a kid in the backyard at work with my dad because I painted houses, apartment buildings. I painted thousands of apartments growing up. And you have that big roller pole, roll, and then you roll. And then there was a sanding pole. And that went into, you put the drywall, the mud on the wall, it gets too thick. And you have to sand it with a sanding pole. And then I would start, you know, doing this kind of stuff. And then I would learn from the martial arts school different techniques, and I would do that, not with a paint, but they all unscrewed, right? So you unscrew it, you leave the painting part, the part with the paint, the roller there, and then make sure there's no paint on it, and then I would start doing that. But my point is, my hands weren't the same forever. I'm left-handed. My left hand always has more, can do more delicate moves. My right hand, especially because I would paint, it's like sword. And with the sword, all the weight of the sword is carried in that left hand. The right hand just directs the strike. So one hand is always a little bit stronger. It's just the way you're made. You have a dominant eye, and if you look at your eyes very closely, you'll see one is sunken back a little bit and one's forward a little bit, and that comes out when people shoot. Martial arts a little bit, but wherever your dominant eye is, most people will tend to lean onto one leg instead of having their weight distributed evenly. It's the beauty of martial arts. It helps balance all this stuff up. All right, so we did our basic spins. Now I want to go into a strengthening exercise, and then I want to show you some self-defense, because you should be able to fight with this thing, defend yourself. This is for your wrists and for your power, your strength. I'm not sure, this is a long staff, and my ceilings aren't as high as I used to have in Ohio. But I'll take the sun here in sunny Florida over the gray cold in Ohio any day. All right, so you hold as much as you can, and this is a heavy staff. You hold it. Yes, I'm going to show you why you spin in a fight, or when you would spin. You're not going to spin as much, unless you're Darth Maul, then you spin all the time because it's a different thing. But yeah, you're going to have instead of a spin, think of a transfer. So you push your hand all the way out, and it's to the side. This first exercise is just, I might have to lean down a little so I don't hit the ceiling. Yep. I'll go to my knee. So you're just up and down, up. And you're going to do this to strengthen the hands and that forearm. This is going to give you more control faster. And then this is to the side, and now I'm going to come to the front and up. Front and up. Think of doing this again for about 30 seconds. If you need to, choke up a little bit so it's not as heavy. Then, same thing on the other hand, to the side and up. You're going to do that 10 times or 15 times, however you split 30 seconds. Or you can do it like this. Go for about 30 seconds per hand. And then, I haven't done this in a while, we'll see. I'm going to pull it into me with a flick of the wrist from here. And the whole purpose, I'm not going to do this in a fight either. What I am going to do is teach my hands how to manipulate the staff. By the way, when you pull this at you, you're going to have that stick, it's going to feel like it's flying at your face. That's a good thing. Get used to that. Allow that to happen. All right, then we're going to go into, not yet, self-defense, I said. All right, so I'm here. We're going to put the spin with the self-defense right from the start so you can see it. I stand behind my weapon. I point my thumb at my target. When I point the thumb at the target, it pops the weapon into the back hand. Now I have this split grip. There are two kinds of grips. There's this push-up or same grip, and this is useful in these types of strikes. Blocking motions, upper lower block, striking to the side, pulling in, but then you also want to have this different grip. This grip is more traditional Kobudo Japanese. This grip you'll see in more Chinese martial arts, in more of the Korean style, right? But then the great thing about the Korean style is you get both. You get the Kung Fu style, but then you also get the changing of grips. And you have changing of grips too, but this is more traditional Japanese. Here's an exercise you can do. 1, 2, 2. You do that, practice changing from one grip to the other one very quickly. And why would you change grip? Because your targets have changed. Because you're fighting this guy, now you're fighting this guy. So you're behind your staff. Point your thumb, create distance between you and the threat. Your first strike will be a thrust. From here, push as hard as you can. Think of spearing through their throat, their face, their solar plexus. From here, spear. The second strike, point the thumb down at that angle. Think about breaking their clavicle. From here, yes, practice that changing of the grip. From here, strike, down, 1, 2, 30 seconds. Harder and faster. And notice that I'm stopping here, protecting the arm. Now, when you do this kind of strike, face, face, knee, knee, these are also powerful strikes. Just because one style is different doesn't make it better or worse. It's simply different. Learn how to use both. 1, 2. All right, go eat. From here, 1, 2. Just make sure you eat something good. I mean, it tastes good. It's good for you. You're going to bring it here. You'll see this. Don't do this. You see that especially on this. This is usually a different kind of technique. This is more for show. Okay, the American, what we call American style karate with the super thin. Stay right there. I'll be right back. These graphite staffs, right? Super cool, super fast. They move really fast. And you see that kind of, there's a guy I think on Instagram, I'm not making fun of his 4D arts or whatever, but he always pops in my head. This totally different. You can't fight with that. You might get one good hit and then it's gonna shatter or break. And it's super lightweight, and it's supposed to be. You know, but a lot of the stuff that comes out of that American style karate, nothing wrong with it, just different. It's the, you know, the kind of fun stuff. Like I've got a guy who does commercials now. And he was just in a Camila Cabello, I don't know, you probably know what it is. Whatever her name is, her latest video, and it's like a Western thing, and he's doing a flip and a spin, and that's really cool, fun stuff. But that's the American style, extreme martial arts, extreme in acrobatics. It's kind of like, I still think Wushu is far superior with the acrobatics, but I don't think Wushu necessarily is a great self-defense art, right? Not that any martial art is self-defense. All right, I digress. These techniques are really powerful though. Thumb, you have that downward strike. I also want you to practice this strike, coming straight across with that back hand like a punch to your face. Down, back. I also want you to practice this reverse jabbing strike. From here, then bring it down straight on top of their head. From here, down over the head. So now you have 4 different strikes. You have a spear, you have a backhand punch, you have that angle strike, you have that jabbing motion. Is that 4 or 5? I don't know. Down here. Now, here's where the spin comes in. This is very important. Again, the spin, you can do this. This is like the Kirapati or Silambam, like the Indian style. And they use a very thin stick, and it's usually not as long. But it's moving a lot like this, very fast. You also see that in the Indian or the Chinese styles. But guess what? All of the martial arts came from India, through China, into Korea, Japan. All the Asian martial arts originated in India. It's an older culture, we knew that. Anyway, but this, not necessarily for striking. This is for striking, or for fighting, for self-defense. But back to this spin. You've done these strikes. Now you want to change hand position, and instead of this to this, which could be fast, right? You're going to spin it over the back of the hand. So from here, this just opens, turns down, turns down. Now it's in the opposite hand, it's opposite position. Same as if you did this, but you did this instead. This is also, as a practice, 30 seconds at a minimum. I like to do this for as much as 2 minutes because it really burns out my forearms, giving me stronger grip here. Yes, I want to see your video. faster. I want to see everybody's video. When you learn this stuff, please put it up. If you know a different way of doing something, please put it up. But spinning, and then add those strikes together. Spin, strike, strike, spin, strike, strike, spin, strike, strike, strike. Change your strikes, right? Oh, I forgot to show you this one. From here, you can go forward, you can also go backward. From here, forward, backward, punch, down, over the top, and then spin to the other hand, or something like that. All right, so let's go back to this wrist roll. We were going wrist roll here, wrist roll here, wrist roll here, and here. I want you to now go into that figure eight. It's a sideways figure eight, which is also, if you think about it, an infinity sign, which is the name. So when you are looking for different types of techniques, some people are called, all martial arts like this. Techniques will have 5, 6 different names, but it's all the same technique. This is a figure eight. This is also an infinity. This is also endless. And if you think about it, it all means basically the same thing. Notice that my hand is up. Don't get in the habit of dropping one hand down. Always put that hand up. And then increase your speed. Here's what I want you to try today. If you're down here in front of your belly button, it's going to spin differently than if it's in front of your chest, which will spin differently than if it's up here in front of your face. So practice weaving down and weaving up, down and up. And this is where I said it would be a little bit more intermediate than just beginner. This is what I meant. From here, coming up, coming down, coming up. I'm exaggerating for effect by bending the waist. Don't bend the waist. Keep the arm straight. Then, with the same hand, in front of your body and behind your body. Same exact spin. This is the same endless spin, infinity, whatever you want to call it. I'm just doing it to the front and the back. If I step back, put it in front of me again, step up, put it to the side. Then, without taking that out of your hand, you're going to really burn these out today. Reversing. Reverse. And the same here. Low, middle, up. And travel, down and up. Down and up. And by the way, when you go to the side, because you're going to do that to the side also, you can also do that high, middle, and low. And what's going to happen is you're going to get a better sense when you start to do your flow arts. Both one leg forward and one back when it's in front of your body. And then feet are in line with each other when it's to the side. So try here, just one in front of the other. Don't overthink any piece of this. Your brain will figure out most of the moves. But here's where your brain will get tricked. You'll think you're doing this reverse spin, and somehow in the middle of it, I've seen this thousands of times. I've literally taught bow staff to tens of thousands of people in person at seminars and summer camps and in my schools, and I see this all the time. It's so frustrating for people because they think they're doing this reverse spin, but they really are doing this. And the way I'm all focused on breaking it down to one piece at a time, probably because I'm a man and I can't multitask. Stack task, you do one at a time, right? Leading with the thumb, pushing forward, that's striking. That's going forward. Blocking is almost always with the small side of the hand. Pulling. So if you focus on forward, and then you stop and you force yourself to go backward, then you can sometimes pick it up faster. Forward, reverse. But it's important to be able to do both. And both in front of the body and then to the side of the body. Now from here, when it's on the side of the body, I want you to bring it behind your back. See how my thumb is up? Your thumb's just up. Take the other hand, pull it out. That's what I usually cut out. pulling it out from one side to the other side. I'm going to tell you something that I'm just feeling it's really fun. Oh, you just missed me whack myself in the head with my staff. I hope it was delicious. Literally, like right when you left, I just smacked myself in the head really hard. But what makes it so hard is that it's embarrassing, right? To whom? Anyway, don't allow yourself, you can feel embarrassed, but don't stay with that. Who cares, right? From here, you're going forward. The fun thing is, I'll forget all about it. Reverse. I'll forget all about just hitting myself in the head, and then like 2 days from now, I'll be washing my hair, what's left, and I'll feel like, oh, there's a bruise there. What did I do? And I don't always remember what it was. All right, now this is that reverse figure eight. When I get here, take it. Go behind your back. Pull it out. I just want you to go behind your back and out. A full turn. Take it. Full turn. Turn in front of your body and behind your back. From here and then here. Then, instead of in front of your body here, when you take it with that opposite hand, go straight up in the air. You might have to squat a little. Straight up in the air. Then from here, turn it. Now, you already know how to do this turn. This turn is the same thing. If I bring my hands up and I keep moving, and I bring my hands back down, I saw me whack myself again. And I do it here. Spins build power in the hands. We're doing two things. When we talk about self-defense, if I'm talking about three things, let's talk about three things. Let's talk about sport. Combat bow sport fighting, okay? You put some pads on, or maybe you don't. You get a soft, hard, but not wood hard, or you don't, and then you fight against somebody. You're gonna have a set of rules. That's sport. It's just like any other martial arts sport. Taekwondo has its front leg kicking. Judo, you're gonna pick them up and throw them. Jitsu, you're gonna try to submit them. MMA, you're gonna try to ground and pound and knock them out and bust their eyeball out of their head or whatever that is. But they all have rules. You're in a cage, you have a referee, there's a timer. That's sport. Number two, self-defense. Self-defense and martial art are not the same thing. Self-defense uses techniques of the martial arts, but has its own rules. Rule number one, situational awareness, what's happening around you. Rule number two, get in a better position. In this case, I have a stick in my hand. I'm gonna defend myself, street fight self-defense, or self-defense against a violent attack. Put the stick between me and the threat. Number three, create distance if you can. Now you gotta get around my stick. I'm gonna stick it in your line of sight so you can't see me. You're gonna have to look around to then attack me. These are all principles of self-defense using techniques of martial arts, weapon in this case. Number four, breathe. Or three, whatever it is. The next principle, take a deep breath, ask yourself, what are the targets that I can destroy, remove, eliminate from my threat? His throat, there's a jab. His eye, there's a strike. His knee, there's a downward strike, right? So those self-defense principles using the techniques are different. Then lastly, the aesthetics, the beauty, the art, the martial art part, right? That's where all the spins come in, and then you see the application in popular culture. For example, Ray Park, the martial artist who plays Darth Maul in the Star Wars movies. He's a martial artist using a bow staff, but they light it up with computer animation or whatever, and all of a sudden he's got a lightsaber. There's Darth Maul with the red face and the whatever the other stuff is, right? And I think there are a couple of other actors now who are trying to use the staff. Or what's the Chinese actor, not Jet Li, but the other guy who played Ip Man, is in one of the Star Wars movies, and he's using a staff. Or Rey, she's using a staff until she gets the lightsaber. I mean, those are just or the TV show, The Walking Dead, with Morgan was the character. I've never seen any of these shows, by the way, except for some of the Star Wars. But I've seen clips of it because people ask me, how can I fight like Morgan from The Walking Dead? And I thought, well, who's that? And what is he talking about? And then I watch it, and the guy's doing this, and they're calling it an Aikido staff. And he's using a Japanese bow. And I know bow and staff are the same word. So when I say bow staff, I'm saying bow, or staff, however you want to see it. But all of these are, so you're right, everything's right. The purpose that I see for spinning is that I very seldomly drop my weapon anymore. Very rarely. It's only when I really am pushing myself or I'm focusing on the camera and then I whack myself, but it's good and I love it, right? But I can do all kinds of stuff with the staff without thinking about it. It becomes an extension. And that proprioception comes from a lot of those spins. Practically spinning, striking, and then getting your hand in a different position. And that came a lot from the Jo. And the Jo, which is the shorter version of the staff, the story goes, you've probably heard this story, that Musashi, the story of Musashi, I don't know if you've seen that. If you've never seen it, go get the old version, if you can, the one made by Akira Kurosawa. And yeah, absolutely. That's the aesthetics. That's the beauty of it, right? It's there's so many different. Think of them all as expressions. There's self-defense expression. There's fighting expression, sport, combat, self-defense, and then it's a moving. For me, it's a moving meditation. When I'm the most frustrated, like right now, when I can't open my business. And I'm looking at how many more weeks, and then, you know, is the business going to come back after the shutdown? And you got the stress. I get my staff and I start spinning, and after a while, I'm spinning harder and faster, and sweat's pouring, and then, you know, I stop thinking about stuff. So that's another expression, moving meditation. So they're all different expressions. One is not right, one is not wrong. They're simply different. And if you can adopt that theory of martial arts. Theology, we'll just call it that. The theology of martial arts, not getting too highfalutin, is that it's not good, it's not bad, it's different. There's no such thing. Can Wing Chun beat the boxer? Well, probably not. Well, what are we talking about? Is that why you study Wing Chun? Can Jiu-Jitsu beat the boxer? Or whatever it is. They're all different, and there's nothing wrong with any of them. But if you understand why you're doing each one, then you can see the beauty and the value in it. And maybe you don't want to get in the ring and have cauliflower ear and have your nose broken 13 times and knocked out 40 times. All those things are true. Some of us love it, but some people, that's not martial arts. That's not what they need. What they need, the likelihood of being in a physical altercation, unless you live in certain parts of the world, it's extremely low, even now in this craziness. So why do you practice it? Just maintain your sanity? To heal your body, mind, and soul, all that's true. Anyway, sorry, I digress. So we're talking about spinning behind the back, bring it up over the head, behind the back, and over the head. And it's also learning how this thing moves through space and time. Spatial awareness. I whacked myself in the head really hard about, 5 or 6 minutes ago, and it reminded me that whatever I was trying to do wasn't working. So, I mean, it's immediate feedback. I love it for that. I love fighting with people. I like to spar because you get immediate feedback. And you thought you were fast and you're not. You thought you hit harder than that and you didn't. And you thought you could take a certain kind of punch and you can't. And maybe you change some things. Maybe you learn. Maybe you open your mind. And all that happens too when you whack yourself in the knee or the foot or whatever. All right, I want to do just a couple more things with you here. I want to review the thrust, punch, coming down at this angle. These are all the basic Kubodo, you know what I'm trying to say. The Japanese style, you have this spear, this thrust. Make sure you do it with force. Then you have that backhand punch coming across the face, coming down this angle. And after you warm up a little bit, start to really hit as hard as you can. Don't be afraid of getting a couple of bruises at the beginning of your training. It'll pay off later. So you have this coming down here. I want you to also do this reverse strike coming in here. From here, after the thrust, I also want you to thrust straight back, and then coming down, this downward strike, and think about where you would hit. Go through the middle of the body. Don't hit them over here. It's like even a lot of black belts and a lot of schools where I guest teach, they punch when they do their forms, especially straight from the shoulder, which means they punch the other guy straight in the shoulder. Make sure your punch goes through the middle of the body. Make sure your strikes come through the middle of the body. All right, so we were talking about the Joe, Musashi, the swordsman, undefeated. He runs up to, or comes across a monk who uses this to walk through the mountains and spread Zen. But he also, or whatever he was spreading, maybe he was a different style, I don't know, whatever. But he fights Musashi because they both have a big ego. But the monk, Musashi's smart. Musashi's pretty smart, so he knows, he takes him up to the mountainside where the trees are low hanging, and the monk keeps getting stuck. His long bow keeps getting stuck in the trees, and Musashi beats him. He doesn't kill him, but he beats him. And the monk doesn't like that, so he goes, monks are good at sitting in the corner meditating for a long time. He thinks and thinks and thinks, and then it occurs to him, his staff is too long, and he cuts it. And someone told me recently, armpit, right? Like 54 inches, 51 to 54 inches, depending on how tall you are. So he cuts it down to here. Let me see where, let me grab it real quick. Now this is a beefy Joe. I've never had such a thick Joe. And I got kind of excited when I saw it because I thought, this is gonna really stretch out my hands and help me build some more speed and strength, because I always want more speed and strength. Even though I get older, I think I can still get better, right? For my hand, now he's got a Joe. Then he runs into Musashi the next time, and because he has a Joe, he's able to fight and move in a much different way, and use it in the way that you use the Joe, which has similarities to the bow, but its own techniques, kind of its own language, and its own spins. And the spins with the Joe are for the same purpose. It's to change hand position, to use it in a different way. And then, so I think for me, the reason that you see them in these videos is a lot of my spins come from practicing with the Joe and changing that hand position, trying to get faster with the bow staff. So I don't know, whatever reason, right? They all kind of, after a while, we've been doing this stuff for long enough, you start to see that all martial arts are really similar. The people teaching them all have their own culture. It's kind of funny. The FMA guys, the Filipino martial arts guys, they all act and talk like Dan Inosanto. I don't know why. I think it's because right now he's not the only guy at the top, I understand. Or they all talk like, whoever the gurus are who are coming out of the Philippines or Indonesia or whatever. The Korean American instructors who are teaching the Taekwondo from one style, ITA, they all talk one way. The Shotokan guys all carry themselves a certain way. Judo guys all carry themselves a certain way. BJJ, the Brazilian guys, definitely all talk and act the same. Not in a bad way, it's just that the culture permeates what we do. Let me know in the comment section what else you want to work on. I gotta go, my phone's about to die. Thank you so much. I hope you have a great Sunday. I will see you tomorrow.